Orale, I got a second video now. I'm so cool. I'm cool. What's up, everyone? This is Andy's Comic Stash. Before I continue this episode, I just want to say thank you very much to everyone that's subscribed, commented, also the posts on my Instagram and Facebook. I absolutely loved it. Doing that first video definitely was the hardest thing ever. It's literally the first impression I put out on YouTube. So hopefully I did a good one. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much. Thank you. Now that we got the intro out of the way, let's talk business. Vámonos. To keep this video at an entry level, I'm definitely going to start off with two comic books from the two biggest pillars in comic books. Amazing Spider-Man from Marvel and Batman from DC. Whenever I have a customer coming in and wanting to start off on a certain title, I always recommend them either Spider-Man or Batman. These characters not only have the biggest popularity when it comes to the movies, the shows, the cartoons, their ongoing titles are always popping. Shenanigans always ensue. The best part is you don't necessarily have to always start at an issue 1 when it comes to an ongoing story. You can always start off at a random issue where the beginning of a story arc begins. On top of that, those characters tend to have off stories all the time where you can begin at an issue 1. I mean, you can't really go wrong, especially if you're trying to begin. Before I continue any further, just to let you know, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Orale pues, from this point on, it's on you. Without further ado, here's the first title. With Amazing Spider-Man #1, 2022. So I'm gonna set you in the mood from like a couple of months ago. Amazing Spider-Man issue 93 just ended. Kind of left us with a cliffhanger, not to mention a first appearance. So the story's good, but very overwhelming because it was literally weekly, 3 weeks out of the month. Even on that 4th week, we still had a title. Forgot which one. Regardless though, overwhelming and you're tired. Finally ended at issue 93. Just putting it out there, I'm not hating on weekly. Nor am I hating on the crew in any way, shape, or form. But having a weekly comic book can be a little bit exhausting. Just a little bit. In the first few pages, you do see Peter Parker talking to Aunt May, having a pretty deep discussion over a cup of tea. Meanwhile, we do have Tombstone in the mix with a bunch of baddies in one group meeting. With Fisk being gone, he's definitely talking about earning more territory. Of course, we got Spider-Man with him on the logs, meaning as he's swinging by to find the bad guys, he's still in that whole, "Ooh, I hope this can cheer me up, you know? Even though Aunt May and everything else is like falling apart, maybe beating up bad guys might cheer me up." Of course, Spider-Man finds Rabbit in an illegal arms deal. When I was reading it, it said something about a goblin glider, so my special appearances are tingling. Once the whole deal is a bust because they see Spider-Man, we got Digger smashing through in the car trying to grab Spider-Man. And of course, action ensues. One of my favorite panels definitely has to be the first explosion. So you see Spider-Man pushing Rabbit and a henchman away from the explosion, right where the bodies are. It looks kind of blurry, kind of borroso a little bit. And then in the background, just like explosion. Like the borroso kind of messing up the artwork a little bit. I like that. It gives that effect of, you know, like, ah! You see Peter looking at a screen on MJ's contact. Looks like he wanted to call, but he just couldn't. Just hesitant. Peter's on his bed, receiving a phone call from Mary Jane. Orale! For those that don't know, Mary Jane's the love interest. If you didn't know that, orale, where have you been? He answers the call from MJ. Asking, "Hey, what's up?" MJ immediately saying, "You gotta stop. You gotta stop calling me." And Peter's trying to explain, "No, I can, let me explain, it's just," and then immediately MJ's like, "No, you need to stop. I'm hanging up." Hangs up. Rocky starts, rocky relationships, or whatever, who knows? There's a lot of more detail in this book that I did not really want to mention because I didn't want to ruin the book too much. But I would recommend definitely this story. The plots are pretty solid. You definitely see a struggling Peter, as we all love to see. And just a quick heads up, issue 2 did come out. Maybe it could give you answers to that first issue I just mentioned. And it's monthly. The next title I chose is from DC, Batman Fortress. This would be the example of a side story of a very popular character. You would definitely have to start on an issue 1, but at least it's a side story, so it's probably like a few issues compared to an ongoing story. And if I haven't mentioned this already, I'll mention it one more time. Spoilers. We start this book off with Gotham completely in a blackout. Of course, it gives that comic book foreshadowing, starting with, "Oh, Bruce Wayne, he's out of town, so we're totally gonna break in. Yeah, man, the only person in there is their butler. Oh, that old man, he's..." Weirdly enough, they do go into the manor. As one of the homeboys grabs the necklace, Bruce Wayne kind of just steps in, telling the guy, "Hey man, that's my mom's. Don't do that." More comic book foreshadowing. "Oh, we can take him." Then you see Bruce Wayne kicking ass everywhere he goes. Not to mention Alfred steps in and also kicks ass. I mean, what more do you want? Quick side note. I miss Alfred. Next, we got Jim Gordon with Gotham Police trying to get all of these car batteries to turn on the signal. It's one of my favorite panels. You can see everyone kind of struggling in to connect it to the signal, like there's a bunch of wires. Upon that news, Jim tells them that there's a breakout in Arkham Asylum, which is a big no-no. Which is a straight up big no-no. They had the Penguin and the Joker in that joint, so... On top of that, there's mass riots and looting just all over the place. Not just Gotham, but around the world. By this point, I think Batman's really considering his options. He's definitely thinking, where is Superman? My favorite panels on there is where Jim Gordon is trying to explain that this reminds him of a movie where everything's legal and cops can't do anything about it. And just to give out a small slapstick comedic jab, Batman answers with, "There's a movie on this? I wonder what that one is." So upon Batman trying to stop the rioters in Gotham, you got Danny DeVito choking a woman in the ocean. And he's singing what I'm assuming is the song the fisherman was singing in Jaws. And I quote, "Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For I received orders to sail back to England." In the original part, it's Boston, but you know, Penguin. "And so never more will I see you again." Orale. After that, you got Jack Nicholson in a school bus filled with kids, and he's singing "The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round." I'm not singing that. I mean, what other movie reference is that to? Orale. I wonder which one. I'd love to go further, but I think I'm going to stop it right here. I honestly had a good time reading that book. Made me laugh. Made me go, what? Brought me to some nostalgic movies I love watching. And roping it back to what we're talking about, it's a side story, not the ongoing story. So I'm going to end this video on what we learned today. If you want to get into comic books, but you don't know where to start, begin at ongoing stories. And for this case in this video, you can always start off with these. And just to put a disclaimer on this video, there isn't really a right way to begin. At the end of the day, you can always start off however you want to start off. This particular way I was explaining throughout the video is just one way. Thank you very much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. For more info or to find a way to support my YouTube channel, links in the description below. I'll leave you guys with 3 tips. Read comic books, trade save lives, and support your local comic book shop. Alright my friends, I'll see you later. Ah!